that I have, sorry. I'm going to establish that I have a quorum. So in doing so, I'm just going to call your names. Linda Williams,
Yep.
Brooke Moore,
Yes.
John Balash,
Yep.
Bert Johnson,
Here.
and I think that's it. Does that give us a quorum?
John Belash is here.
Yeah, I said hi to John Balash, didn't I? Hi, John. Didn't I said hi to John?
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
So I guess what are we missing, Dorothy? Is it
Uh,
Joanna and Ruth?
Yeah, I think we're okay.
So we're missing two? Okay.
We're missing two. We have a quorum.
1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're
We have a
fine.
quorum.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna, I have to read the script. It's so much fun. So bear with me, everybody. As a preliminary matter, this Dorothy Hertz, Chair of the Contract Review Committee, permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated in the agenda are present and can hear me. So I've already talked about the members. Jericho
Yes.
and Ann Median.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Speakers on our first one, it would be Sherry Hunt.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Sherry. Thanks for being and thanks for your patience. Good morning, everybody. This is an open meeting of the Contract Review Committee and is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020. Due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public meetings, gatherings, and as such, the governor ordered suspension of the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in the publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which can be found, you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allow public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This, the CRC, will feature public comment. For this meeting, the CRC is conveying by video conference via Zoom and as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screenshot your computer. Anything you have that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. These are the ground rules. We are now turning for the first item in the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some of the ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in the conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. And for items of public comment, after members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public who have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak may state their names and be acknowledged. Finally, each vote taken in the meeting will be conducted on a roll call. Thanks, guys. So I have established a quorum. Can I get an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Brooke,
Aye.
Linda,
Assume that's Linda Williams.
Yes, it's Linda Williams, sorry. Hi. John,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
and Dorothy. Hi, guys. So now let's go. We're gonna begin our discussion on the agencies for the grant monies. Have you noticed we are trying to fit in some of the ones that got lost on our last Zoom meeting? You'll see that those been added to some of the coming meetings ahead. I've just been notified that the NCH is supposed to meet with us on Wednesday. We are going to take them off our agenda for Wednesday as one of the members presenting had a death in the family. So we'll figure them into the agenda at a later time. And we are going to start. Hi, Sherry. We're going to start with you.
Well, good morning, everyone. I think most of you know me. I'm Sherry Hunt. I am the director of the Nantucket Office of Elder Services. We provide the Meals on Wheels and senior dining programs in Nantucket. I actually don't have my contact request grant review in front of me, so I'm not certain which amount was requested, and I apologize. I've gotten my notes ready.
It was you guys requested 21,000.
21. Okay, so that's the last one was 20. Okay, so obviously, as everybody has, we've seen some increases in the people we're serving in our community. One of the things I want to be clear about is I do not consider Meals on Wheels to be something that's part of a food insecurity. There are much different requirements. They are set by the state and federal guidelines. And I think there's a lot of misinformation in the community that thinks that people on Meals on Wheels are food insecure. And it couldn't be further from the truth. So I just want to start out by clearing that sort of thing up. People that are on Meals on Wheels are on Meals on Wheels most likely because they have a mobility issue, a health issue, an inability to shop, prepare foods. Basically, that's pretty much how we look at it. We go into a home, we assess the person, we determine whether they meet the criteria to receive meals. It's for 60 and older. And before COVID, if somebody was a little more mobile and could use the bus service, and we felt that some of the issue was a sort of a socialization problem, we would try to get them to attend the senior dining program that we run at the Salt Marsh. Currently, that's been closed. And I don't see us reopening it in the near future. We do not ask for funding from CHS for that program. We specifically request only for Meals on Wheels. Our current caterer cost is $15.80 a meal and $8 a frozen meal. That is strictly caterer cost. There are no overheads in that figure at all. That's simply our cost to get the food. So the first quarter, the bill for the first 3 months was $38,057.85. So the $20,000 that we received paid for a month and a half of our food costs. Our caterer is still Kitty's, and they have been faithful. Even when they've been closed, they have made sure to be open to prepare our food. We have not missed a day in serving the people that we provide meals to. Currently, we have, let me see my notes. We currently have 50 volunteers, active volunteers. Our program is done all by volunteers to deliver to the residents that require the food. The issue we had with COVID was we normally go into the home and sort of do a little visit and check on people. So we did a no contact delivery, which has worked quite well. We arranged with our folks to have a delivery point outside of the home where we would call and say, okay, your food's on the chair on the front porch. So they could come to the door and sort of wave at us and we would know that they were okay. And that has worked out quite well. And I'm blessed to have the volunteers that we have who've continued to show up day after day for us. Through our 21-22, the July 1 through November 30, we served 45 elders in our community. We served 3,996 Meals on Wheels, which was an increase.
I'm sorry, Sherry, could you give me that number again?
Sure, we served 45 clients, and it was a total of 3,996 in meals.
And what period is that?
July 1 to November 30.
Okay,
That's our new cycle. That's current.
okay.
3,900 and what? I'm sorry, say it again.
996.
Sorry, thank you very much.
No problem. And that's at the $15.80 per meal. We also now have an $8 fee for frozen meals. So that includes that, I think we only serve maybe 4 to 6 frozen meals a week. Those are used for holidays and weekends. That's an increase of 12 elders and 2,102 meals, from the previous year's figures.
Wow.
What's the increase again? The square foot, the percentage?
I didn't give a percentage. I gave 2,102 meals. That's the increase in meals.
Wow.
And it,
Now, Sherry, can I ask a question in this, on the proposal, which I know you say you don't actually have.
I forgot to bring it in. I apologize.
No, it's perfect. It's perfectly all right. I just want to ask a question on it. I know you don't
Sure.
have it, but just to clarify something. It says the meal cost is $15.85, but the cost per meal is actually $20.14. That $20.14 would actually be administration fees.
I would believe so. It may be also the cost of the frozens.
Yeah, but that's only a $5 difference. Not even a $5 difference.
No, the frozens are $8. So she may have included those in anticipation of how many holidays we have, as well as the weekends. No, I'm not certain. Unfortunately, I don't do the financial part. It's done on the other side.
Right.
I
No, yeah.
certainly, I can ask that question if you would like.
Yes, you could ask that question for me. I think that might be what they're addressing, but yeah. And then, so my other question was in fiscal year 2021, they projected that you did 11,500 meals. Their projection for fiscal year 2022 was actually only 10,326, which brought it down like 1,000 in numbers, 1,174. But you're telling us that you've already seen an increase.
Well, we served 10,326 year ending 21.
Year
So
ending 21, because that says
Yeah.
it's okay. So it says here that they budgeted for fiscal year 2022, 10,326, where
And that's what we served. So she's using the number for what we served through 21.
through
as
21.
yeah.
Okay.
Ending 6/30/21 ends our fiscal.
Okay.
So she's anticipating we would serve that many meals in 22.
Okay, because my question was in 2021, you had a difference, you served 11,500, and I was wondering if that had to do with the fact that the Salt Marsh Center wasn't providing meals, and that would be the 1,000 difference that we're looking at.
No, the Salt Marsh doesn't provide meals. We do.
Well, you know what I mean, the meals that are at the.
And
store
those are not included in these figures.
At all, okay,
No, these are strictly meals, home delivered meal numbers. There are no congregate numbers because we don't ask for dollars for congregate. We only ask for home delivered meals.
so in actuality, if you keep up at the rate of clients that you've seen, you'll actually be serving about 15,000 meals, almost 16,000 meals. Okay,
Quite possible.
okay.
Let's see.
If I take that and times it by 4, I'm gonna come up with 15,984 meals. That number that you gave us. So there's.
The current number that we've served, the 3,996, yeah.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yep. So that would actually put you well above the number you have projected in meals. Okay,
Dorothy,
yeah.
clarifying question through you. I thought the 3,996 was from, it was from what dates again?
July 1st of 21 through November 30 of 21, our current
more-
fiscal.
Yeah, it's more than one quarter, so it wouldn't be a multiple of 4.
You're right.
July, August, September, October.
It's
It's
actually a
5
half.
months,
it's
5 months.
close to half.
Okay, so we might come in at the right number. Okay, go on, Sherry.
I really think that's pretty much all I have, unless someone has a specific question that I could answer.
Well, yeah, I have a couple of questions. I'm gonna go right off the bat. Sorry, guys, but I'm just gonna ask it real quickly. I see that we have you've had a 5% increase in the cost of the meals
Correct?
So last year, when you came and presented to us, it was presented at the overall cost of the per cost meal would be about $18.75. So I'm assuming that that actually is where that $20.14 is this year, but after you had signed a contract, you thought it was going to go to $19.10. So if I go to the 2014, you've had a 5% increase in your cost per meal. But
we went from $13.65 per meal
When?
2020. These are just food costs I'm dealing with. I'm not adding any overhead here. I'm strictly dealing with caterer cost. So $13.65 per meal and $7 per frozen. That price went to $15.80 per meal and $8 per frozen. So that's a significant increase.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think what I'm just trying to understand is that we have an estimated per cost in this year's and then a meals only cost. Which is one's $20.14, one's $15.85. Going back over the last couple of years, has been presented as a per meal cost at $18.75. And then when you presented to us, there was an increase. So you were expecting it to go to $19.10. So now it's at 2014, which gives us from the 1910 to the 2014, which is a 5% increase. At the 21,000, but we've had a decrease in the overall cost of the program only by $7,000. So it's costing $7,000 less for some reason to run the program, but you're still only asking us for 10% of the overall cost of this program, 10.09%. Correct. Am I correct?
As I said, I don't do the financials. I have nothing to do with it. It's submitted from our chief financial officer. All I can give you is the information I have from
You have in
Nantucket.
front of you. Okay. Okay.
I certainly, and again, we have a brand new CFO, so I really can't. I can speak to her if you would like me to. I will clarify this $20.14. But as I said, I'm aware that our new meal cost is $15.80 per meal. That is what we pay kiddies for every meal that we take from, and that does not include any overhead. I'm assuming the 2014 is including some administration fees.
Yeah, I'm assuming that too. And Sherry, I'm only making a point that we are still only paying 10% of the overall cost of this meal program.
As I said in the
And not-
very
and not-
first beginning of what I said, the last grant of $20,000
Mhm.
paid for a month and a half of
Correct.
meals. So,
Correct.
yes.
I'm just sort of just looking at the bigger number, and I'm just sort of, for anybody that doesn't have the availability or is speaking or listening in, I want them to understand that this is only 10% of an overall budget of what it costs to actually run this program on the island. So
Thank you.
it's I just want everybody to have an understanding of that. And I think it's wonderful, as always, Sherry. I'm blown away by what they do and what they provide for the people here. So
Thank you.
I just want everybody to understand that that's only 10% of that overall running budget. I'm going to go through, but I'm going to start with Bert. Brooke, I see your hand up, and I'm going to start with Bert, because it's going to be easier if I use him as the first person out every time. Bert?
No question.
He has no comments except for to say, hi, Sherry.
Hi, Bert.
Keep up
I'm jealous.
the good work and keep feeding those people.
Will do.
Okay, Brooke.
So another way to look at it is their food cost has gone up 15%, and they're asking for a very small increase in the amount of funding. So
I'm not sure if it's gone up 15% or 5%, depending on which one number we're looking at.
I'm talking about just the catering cost has gone up 15%. So they're eating more of the administrative cost out of our grant than ever.
Yes, it's gone up in the last 2 years that way, but not since last year's thing.
But
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
John Balash. Or do you have anything else, Brooke?
Nope.
Okay, John?
I have nothing to say except I'm sorry, Sherry, I'm not visiting with you this year.
I know, I will miss you. But better safe.
Linda?
Well, I tell you every year, Sherry, you don't ask for enough money, so that's all I gotta say.
Thanks.
Sherry, I think on behalf of everybody, we are very grateful that you are there and that you continue to be an advocate for the elderly and for this very important service to the island. I'm going to reiterate, sorry, it's not coming out right, what Linda has said. As always, you ask us for very little of what this costs to support so many vital people in our community. So thank you.
Well, thank you all. It is greatly appreciated. And at this point, anything is, helpful for us. We do our, we do collect donations for the program, and it's not a program that's ever going to make money. That's for certain. It's always going to be in the red, but that is pretty much what we're accustomed to working with. And we still are able to do our job. So that's the more important thing.
And you're never retiring, remember that.
Well,
That's a different story, Sherry.
well.
We'll have that conversation later, Sherry.
Ever.
Hey, Sherry, can I just ask one other question? How much,
Sure.
in looking at this, and I'm sorry if everybody it's in front of us and I'm not seeing, but have you had many cuts on the federal? I know that you were looking at cuts on the federal and state level to these programs. Has it
Oh,
actually?
none.
Awesome.
None. They're frozen. I mean, we haven't gotten an increase at a federal level in over 30 years, but they didn't take anything away from us. So
Good. Okay,
that
well,
was
that's
a good thing. Yeah.
Dorothy, I have a question.
Who's asking? Sorry.
It's Joanna.
Hi, Joanna.
Hi. I have a question.
Welcome, Joanna. I didn't see you join, so I apologize.
It's okay. I have to, and I apologize for having to come in and out. I have a question similar to what Linda said. How come you don't ask us for more money?
Because we are one of many human service providers on this island that need money. So, we try to be as reasonable as we can, knowing you guys have a limited amount of funds to disperse amongst many. So,
I mean, I appreciate that, but feeding people seems to be a primary need. Right.
Well, as I said in the beginning, I'm not going to consider our program food insecure. It just doesn't apply. We have different regulations and rules to follow in order to feed seniors strictly.
Okay.
So yes, we're feeding people, and yes, it's important. But, numbers, we've seen a huge change in the congregate dining program. Seniors are, listen, I'm a senior. I'm old enough to have lunch and Meals on Wheels, but most of us are still working full time. So, these programs are going to change over time for sure. So right now we're serving, 45 people. Previously, we served 82. I think those are small numbers given what I'm reading in the paper and looking at for people feeding families. So I think, we're trying to be aware that we are not the only program in the community that is offering food.
But Sherry, I do not want us to ever step away from the fact that the program that you offer is not only food.
True.
And I
That
think
is true.
that is very important, because it's not, you have, for some, it is their only connection with the outside. And for the people that you are serving, it's a community base that they are past the point of being able to go out and make an income. They are on very fixed incomes where their utility bills, everything is rising, and their income is not rising to what their needs are.
That's true in some cases, Dorothy. It's not always the case. Certainly, we have people who are able to manage financially better than others, but they still can't get to the store or prepare a meal. So we don't look at the financial side as much as we do as the need. As I said, I think if you can look at it from a mobility standpoint, can they drive? Can they stand and cook? Will they stand and cook? Even if you could get to the store.
Sorry. I don't
That's
know.
it, right?
I don't know.
That's mine. It was mine. It's somebody's aid. If you could, even if the person could get to the store, 90% of the time, they're not going to go home and cook it. So that's all of the things we look at in an assessment.
I know, and I think that's what we're looking at too. We're looking at, I think from everybody that is saying that we don't think sometimes that you're asking enough is this
I
program.
will certainly take it back to the financial office and tell them to, that once again, you guys are encouraging us to apply for more. And she did increase it a slight amount this year in our request. So.
But that increase doesn't even cover the cost of the actual cost increase of the food for you guys. So I think what we're trying to say is that we can never award more than you ask for. We can always
understood.
award less. We can always award less, but never more.
All right, thank you. I appreciate your
Does
faith in our program.
We have a lot of faith in it.
Thank you.
And in the people that use it. Is there anybody else that has any comments? Okay. Sherry, again, thank you very much. We'll probably call you for maybe just an over the phone conversation.
Sure.
To check
I am leaving, praying I'm leaving tomorrow, and I will be back in the office the 24th.
24th of January?
Yes.
Okay. I hope that wherever you're going is fun and that you have a great time.
Thank you much. I hope so too. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. A safe place. Oh, I see our safe place people. Hi, guys.
Hi, want us just to jump in, Dorothy?
I do. I'm going to introduce you though, just so that you get recorded. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm going to first say hi to Linda, and then I'm going to have her introduce herself, and then I'll go to you. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Dorothy. I'm Linda Hoey, the president of the board of A Safe Place.
Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
Jenna.
And hello, everyone. I am Jennifer Frazee. I am the executive director of A Safe Place. So thanks for having us here this morning and for reviewing our proposal. And our proposal this year is for $70,000. So let me talk a little bit about a safe place. I feel like most of you know about a safe place, but there may be a couple of you that are not as familiar. So a safe place is a local domestic violence and rape crisis center serving Nantucket. And within a safe place, we have 5 programs. So we have a domestic violence program, a rape crisis program, a supervised visitation program. We have a trauma therapy program, which is a therapeutic program for older adolescents and adults. And then we have our child witness to violence program, which is a therapeutic program for children who've been exposed to or experienced domestic violence or sexual assault or family violence themselves. So in terms of the direct services, the services that we're providing directly to those survivors and or their non-offending family members. So all of our services remain completely free of charge. And I always like to highlight that. We never charge anyone who walks in our door. We just, contractually through the state, we're not allowed to do that. And we feel strongly that we should not be charging any victim or survivor. We provide services. I feel like we have so much going on, but just to kind of highlight some of them, we provide ongoing supportive counseling and therapy. Since the pandemic hit, we have been doing both in person as well as remote. So there was a real brief time when we went remote for the most part, but just given the nature of what we do, we did feel really important that we should continue to provide in-person services. For a lot of people, it wasn't safe to do the remote services because they're living with their abuser. We also run a 24-hour-a-day hotline. We continue to do that. That is live answered by our staff, as well as one longstanding volunteer who's fully trained to do that. Through the hotline, we're also able to respond to both the police department and to the emergency room 24 hours a day in the aftermath of domestic violence and sexual assault. So if a victim or survivor responds to the police department, they're going to call us and an advocate will respond. In that setting, it's generally to help someone who's either filing for a restraining order, an emergency restraining order, or harassment prevention order, or they're reporting some kind of crime that's been done to them. We also would send advocates to the emergency room, sometimes during the daytime, to doctors' offices as well in the aftermath of some kind of physical or sexual assault as well. We also provide advocates at every session of district court and superior court as needed when the victims are involved in some kind of criminal case there, or they're filing for or extending their restraining or harassment prevention orders. And we also provide advocates at every session of family court here on island as well. So oftentimes the people we're working with are going to family court to try to divorce an abuser or possibly trying to get like child custody or child support. And so we can send advocates to be there to support them through all of those procedures and processes. The other thing we're doing is tons and tons of case management. So working with every individual who calls or comes in, what is it that they need to help them attain safety, to hopefully get away from their abusers, and oftentimes trying to help them get basic needs. Many of them don't have food, they are food insecure. So trying to either get them food or food cards and or connecting them to other places, other programs that can help them for the long term with that. So some of the other things like gas cards can be really helpful. And what we've seen a huge increase in since the pandemic hit are requests for help with rental assistance and utility assistance. So in those cases, we're always trying to connect them to other resources that can help meet those needs. So making those important referrals, but also sometimes if they don't qualify for another service, or if they've maxed that out, we too are helping to meet those needs as well. Then the other two big things we're doing are the outreach in the community. Equally important, just letting people know that these services exist, how to access the services. So as much advertising and outreach, awareness raising activities, etc., letting people know that our services are available in English, Spanish, and Portuguese, with internal staff here. And then for other language needs, we could utilize the language line. And then prevention is really a huge part of our mission here. And so we're always trying to conduct as much prevention in the community as possible. And we feel the best way to do that, and where we've had the most success, is by running youth prevention programs. And we continue to do that on a regular basis. The last few years, we've had the most success and work with on a regular basis the Nantucket New School, the Nantucket Boys and Girls Club. We've run a lot of programs there throughout the year. Even when they weren't allowing people into their facility, we were doing programs remotely there. However, we have returned to in-person. We do a 2-week unit with all seniors at the Nantucket High School. We love that program. And then we also do shorter programs with some of the younger students at Nantucket High School. I just have to say that just highlight what a wonderful place it is to work. I feel like we're working with like these horrible topics and issues, but I can't rave enough about how positive the staff team is here and what a good job they're doing, how cohesive of a team they really are in working towards our mission. So I just have to kind of give them a shout out. And then the proposal before you, let me kind of go into that a little bit. So the proposal before you, we're asking for $70,000. $55,000 of that is basically identical to what we asked for last year, and I think for probably a couple of years before that at least. So $55,000 of that would help with all of these ongoing, the 24-hour hotline, crisis services, supportive counseling and case management, the court advocacy piece, and then the outreach and the prevention programs in the community. We are this year asking for an additional $15,000, and this would help fund our trauma therapy program. We're anticipating a 35% cut in funding to our trauma therapy program. As long as we've run the trauma therapy program, 75% of that program is funded by federal money that gets funneled down to us through the Massachusetts Office for Victim Assistance. And we've been notified of a federal cut. So starting in fiscal year 23, there'll be 35% less going to each of the states. Therefore, all of our programs like A Safe Place that receive this federal funding through the Massachusetts Office for Victim Assistance should anticipate a 35% cut. 35% cut in the program would be rough just under 20,000. So we here at A Safe Place are asking for 15,000 from the town to help kind of offset some of that loss there. And then let me open it up. Linda, Howie, if you have anything to add, feel free, and then we can open it up for questions.
I just want to add that Jennifer's comment on the staff and the cohesiveness is the reason it is because of Jennifer. I mean, she has created an incredible work environment, and the work that they do is so hard, and to remain positive throughout all of that work is very difficult, and they really do. I just want to say that the board is also through fundraisers, and we have 2 fundraisers a year. Last year, we couldn't have our summer luncheon, but we did have it this year. In July, we had Elizabeth Smart. And the thing that we like, it's more an awareness as well as a fundraiser, because on the night before the big fancy luncheon for the ladies, we have the same program free to the entire community, anyone who wants to come. So we really try to help the community understand all of these things, and then we have the other more seasonal people, I would say, come and support us at a nice luncheon. And we also have our Walk a Mile, which is more an awareness raiser, because we're walking all through the downtown of Nantucket. And, you know, we haven't been able to do that for a year, and we did it again this year for the first time. Not the first time, it's the 9th time actually, but the virtual just didn't work so well. But when we got out there on the streets and we have all the people and the kids, and it raises awareness of what we do and the support that we have. And our annual appeal has been, since COVID, very successful, I would say. 3 years ago, we budgeted a very small amount. We did very well in the year in 2020. And so we budgeted a little more in 2021, and we've exceeded that. So the board is really, everybody's digging in at the board level too. So I think we have, and we also try to maintain a really nice relationship with the staff. We had a luncheon together, and, you know, I think we all work very well together. So that's.
Thank you, Linda.
We will have a luncheon in 2022. So stay
Okay.
tuned.
I'm gonna go through and ask everybody questions. Bert?
Yeah, right now, are your numbers different this year, on intakes than they were last year? Or are they staying the same?
Oh, yes. Thank you for asking that. I actually meant to address that. So in fiscal year 21, we did serve 317 individuals, and that number has gone up year after year. In recent years, we have been serving more, but really of importance, like if you break down between the 5 programs, we have seen a 30% increase since the pandemic hit in both the domestic violence and rape crisis programs. There was a time when our child witness to violence program was slower, and our supervised visitation program were slower, just given the COVID and all that was being impacted there. But those currently are significantly on the rise. In fact, over the last few months, our supervised visitation program is busier now than it ever has been in our history. And we continue to run at serving 30% more in the domestic violence and rape crisis programs.
Jen, do you know the increase in the program for children witness to violence? Do you know?
I don't know the exact, because it was, I can definitely get that for you, but it was down through a good part of COVID, and now it's continuing to go up, but I can definitely look at those numbers for you.
Okay, thank you. Bert?
I already went, I'm all set.
You're all done? Okay, Brooke?
Yeah, hi. I'm curious, Jennifer, when you look at national trends around domestic violence and sexual violence, you may not be able to answer this question, but I'm curious, is it a rise in incidents, or that people are more aware there's help and they're seeking it out when they're experiencing these traumas? I realize it's going to be a qualitative analysis, perhaps more than quantitative,
Yeah,
but I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could definitely be both. I think that there was definitely an increase in incidents, like during the lockdown when people were literally trapped with their perpetrators, whether it was domestic violence, sexual assault. So I think that part of it is there really was a significant increase in that. But I will say that in many ways, like the silver lining for the work we do is that COVID the attention has been brought in this field. So you did hear, like on the news and in social media, there really was more awareness of this. And I think more funding out in the world for like promoting PR and marketing and letting people know that our services exist. So I definitely think it could be both of those.
Thanks. That's it. That's all I was.
Okay, thank you. John?
When you say you have an increase in numbers, I'm interested in knowing whether it is an increase in the number of family units, or it's an increase both in family units and individuals.
John, I would say both. So that when I was reporting on the increase in the numbers served, it was really like that individual, but most of the individuals we're serving also have families too that we're providing some kind of support to as well, whether it's like a hot meal every week in through the food initiative that the community foundation was funding, and now we work with St. Paul's, or those ongoing, like providing diapers to someone, or formula, or food cards, etc.
Well, I think I was perhaps focusing on whether I'm really focusing on the violence area of your work. And do you find that you have multiple instances within a single family, or is it spread out one instance generally per family? And it's rather a curious question because it probably doesn't relate to the funding at all.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I fully understand.
Well, let me rephrase it then.
Okay.
I am curious as to whether when you have a case of either sexual violence or other violence, you have multiple instances in one family, or whether in terms of your numbers, it tends to break down to separate living groups, whether they're families or otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a combination of both. There are many individuals that we're serving, but then there's also especially when it relates to our child witness to violence program, usually if children are being served in our child witness to violence program, we're also serving the non-offending parent. Not always, but more often than not, we're also serving the non-offending parent. So let's say we're helping mom who's been in a situation of domestic violence against dad. There may have also been family violence that the children witnessed, or they were abused themselves. And so we're serving mom in that situation with the children. Hopefully that helps a little bit.
Well, I'm not really, it's just more my understanding, because it's such a complicated area, especially for somebody who's never lived anywhere near anything like it. So I am informing myself but hopefully other people by my question.
Yeah. And this doesn't really address your question, but it might just be interesting for you or others. But a lot of times what we do see historically, and I've been at a safe place 15 years, so I've seen this a lot, where let's say a survivor is able to flee a situation of domestic violence, that perpetrator, oftentimes we will end up down the road working with another victim or survivor who is now in a relationship with that new perpetrator. So again, I've been here long enough to see the pattern of these abusers. It's not like a one-time thing, or like it's not just happening in that relationship. If we help a survivor flee and get away, and now they're living in safety, they will end up, this perpetrator, in another relationship. And then usually at some point down the road, we're now helping another survivor try to get away from the same abuser.
I certainly, that is, maybe that I was inarticulate in trying to get at that kind of, but you did a good job of clarifying my question.
Okay.
John, do you have any more questions? No, okay. Joanna?
No, I just want to say thank you. You guys do a really incredible job, and it's a very, very important work. So thank you for sharing all that you did with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
We wish it wasn't as needed as much as it
I
is.
know.
Linda?
As usual, you know, I'm a major supporter. I was one of the first members of Safe Place, what, 25, 30 years ago.
35.
Almost
Thir-
35.
It's
Don't
our
date me.
35th anniversary year.
Don't date me.
Yeah, no, Linda.
Oh God, help me. Because we spent a lot of time last year talking about it, because we'd already had about a year or so of COVID under the belt at that point.
Mhm.
And it's still going up, which is what's sort of alarming, because we were kind of alarmed at the change from pre-pandemic to pandemic last year when we came in, and it's still going up. I mean, do you think the stressors are still there, or like somebody earlier said, that people are just more aware that you're there to help?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's probably a combination of both, but I definitely think just the ongoing stressors are there. The stressors involved in a pandemic and losing childcare, or, you know, now of course kids are back in school, but if you have a child that is a close contact or can't go to school, they have symptoms, there's just all these ongoing stressors in life that if you're living in a bad situation, an abusive situation, I think all of these like unknown and ongoing stressors can certainly exacerbate the situation. So I do think it's still happening out there more often.
Are you
But I
finding
like to believe we're also doing more outreach and
Yeah.
advertising, and hopefully people also are becoming more aware of a safe place.
Yeah, because we talked about outreach last year as well, and
Yes.
with the challenges in the pandemic and the lack of school and stuff. But are you finding that more and more of your people are housing and food challenged?
Yes, I mean, we've always had issues, but certainly it's becoming a bigger, much bigger issue right now. We have many, many people that are living with their abusers right now that will not leave the islands and go to a shelter, or because there's children involved, the likelihood that, you know, they're going to be allowed to do that is slim to none. And so the sad reality is we have a ton of survivors that we're working with that are currently in situations of domestic violence that don't have a place to go because they can't afford rent here and they can't buy a house. And that is a major, major issue for us.
That's unfortunate, because it's just a confluence of
Mm-hmm.
like a tsunami of bad things.
Yeah.
No escape.
Nope, no escape. You can't always go over to that house over there on the Cape either, near the
Right.
boat.
Hmm.
Okay, thank you. Well, you're doing a great job. I mean, as I've said last year, the year before that, it's come a long, long way from our early days, 35 years ago. I mean, you offer so many more programs. It's probably, to me, it's one of the most worthwhile programs on Nantucket, period.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Hey, Brooke, I think I saw Brooke Moore's hand up. Brooke, did I see your hand up?
Yeah, I just, not anything to do with the grant. I find it appalling that our family court system traps a victim of domestic violence here on Nantucket because they won't allow them to leave their abuser because of parental rights. Like that just, I mean, I realize it's a rock and a hard place, but the lack of empathy within our court system for that, and the realities of housing and the situation on Nantucket has just been stuck in my craw for years, and I just needed to say that out loud.
Thank you, Brooke.
Jen, I have a few questions, of course.
Yes.
In going back to what Linda talked about, we talked last year about children witness to violence, and we discussed the fact that the children not in school made it so that you weren't seeing the children that were in that program. Do you believe that their being back in school has increased their ability to access you?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I would say since they got back in, like the referrals are steadily coming again. And I don't think we have seen in like an increase over in that program over what we've seen in previous years, but we're back up to like that even state, I'll call it. But
Okay.
certainly being back in session, yeah.
And the dip also was when the kids aren't in school, there's no one with eyes on them.
Right.
No, there's
Yeah.
no one to report. So that's why it dipped a little bit, but now it's coming right back up to.
Yeah, I understand that. I wanted that just for everybody else to understand that this number last year was a concern for for some of us, because we realized the children didn't have any avenue if they were
Right.
there to be able to get out of it. In your therapeutic program, Jen, can you tell me how many people you're actually serving in the therapeutic program?
In the trauma therapy program, we serve about 40 a year. In fiscal year 21, it was just over 40, I believe, but it's about 40 every year. We serve about 40 in both of our therapeutic programs, the children's programming and then the trauma therapy for the adults.
So you see you think you see a total of 80 clients within your therapeutic program?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. One of the things I noticed on your application, first I have another question, sorry. You talked about being into the school, the high school, with your 2-week program, and doing a little bit of programs in the lower levels of the school. It's been a ongoing question of ours as to how much you're actually able, the program is actually getting into the public school at a lower age where children are able to understand what is right or wrong. Are you still running into roadblocks there or having trouble getting into the school at a lower level?
Well,
and if so, or okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
so to address that, I will tell you that we have not attempted to reach the elementary school or intermediate school since COVID hit. We knew that that was just, given COVID and like them limiting who's coming in the schools, we just felt like it wasn't the right time to be reaching out to try to do that programming. But we are running really successful programs at the Nantucket Boys and Girls Club. So in many ways, we feel like we're still reaching the kids, but it's at the Boys and Girls Club instead of the elementary school. I will say probably in the future, I think we will try to reestablish connections in some of those lower level schools and try to get into the schools. But we really do run really great programs with the Boys and Girls Club year after year.
Okay, great. And you're collaborating, who are some of your key collaborators that you're doing programs with right now?
Yeah, the prevention, in terms of the youth prevention. So again, the Boys and Girls Club, we do multiple programs throughout the year. We work with the health department at the Nantucket High School, and that's where we do that the 2 weeks with them through the health class. It's really the health classes in both the high school and the middle school, because that's where they're teaching about our mission related topics. So our key collaborators really are like the middle school health and high school health teachers, the Nantucket Boys and Girls Club. In the last at least 2-3 years, maybe longer, we've had really good relationships with those at the new school. And it started off with them wanting us to go in like for a one-time presentation, but they've enjoyed it so much that they keep on having us go back and do multiple programs.
Okay. And is there any other nonprofit that you're working closely with any programs?
So not necessarily, well, one of the things you might be remembering is in years past, we were working with Health Imperatives on a year-long high school prevention group called SAFE, Student Action for Empowerment Education. Unfortunately, with COVID hit, that kind of just went south because Frigé Burrows, who works at A Safe Place, and Sunny Daly from Health Imperatives, they lead that group. They no longer really had access to those students. So there was like some remote work with them, but because of COVID and this year, they really have been struggling to try to get that group back together. And thus far, it hasn't been successful. But we love working with Health Imperatives. If and when we ever have opportunities to do that, we love that. But in terms of prevention, we're not really we usually do it ourselves when we go out to these different programs, aside from that one group that hasn't been running this school year.
Okay. And then my kudos to you guys. From what I see, that you've had almost 90% increase in your funding, in your fundraising, which is amazing and fabulous, because I know it was a year where I think Linda is correct. It got noticed.
Yeah,
This
right.
got noticed at
Yes.
a time when it needed to be noticed, and
Mhm.
it had always amazed me how you were unable to really get the funding through fundraising that you would have thought your program would have. So I'm really excited for all of you I'm not excited that it took COVID to make it happen.
Right,
But I'm
exactly.
excited that you're being noticed for the good work that the program does and the significance it has in the community. So
Thank you.
I think
The board has made a huge effort to cull our lists and be very intentional about personal contact with a lot of our donors. We write hundreds of notes to them every year, and we just made it a priority to appreciate more our donors. And also, we've had a board turnover in the past 5 years, that because I've been there for 11 years, but in the past 5 years or 6 years, we've added people to the board who are a little more influential in the community and can help us with all these fundraisers. So I think the board has done an amazing job with our fundraising, I must
yeah,
say.
kudos to you,
Yeah.
because this is
Yeah.
an amazing difference in numbers.
It
Just
is
amazing. And I'm
staggering almost.
and it says something about you're finally being heard.
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
And I think
And
that's-
getting the message to the right people.
yes, getting the message to the people that can help make this program
Make a difference,
sustainable.
exactly.
Yeah, Jenna, one last question to both of you. It has been a concern of yours over your space. Has there been any change in that, or are you still able, are you in a long-term lease? Are you still looking?
Who, do you want me to?
Linda, do you want to jump on
Sure.
that?
Sorry, Jen.
Our lease is up on Windy Way at the end of March. And for the past, I'd say year, or 9 months, we've been really looking for a new space. We are in a position that we might be able to buy something, but there's really nothing to buy. Office space on this island is pretty much non-existent. It's very difficult. And with our programs, we have to have so many special things. We have to have two parking lots, two entrances, and, safe spaces. So, we were very close on Friday to purchasing a piece of property that did not pan out. but we're actively looking for something and talking about a capital campaign to try to build something if we have to, or alter whatever we do end up getting. So yeah, space is an issue. I don't know how the staff works in the conditions. I mean, we have one office that has 4 desks in it.
Right.
I think, don't we, Jennifer, or is it 3 or 4? And there are part-time people and full-time people. So Jennifer has been able to make it work. But the point is, our clients deserve a better space.
What about the building across the street? I brought that up last year because that first floor still doesn't have anything in it.
Which first, where?
No, I believe someone purchased that, Linda, or there's
If I can
people
take
in
it from,
there.
because there was John owned the building and I didn't know what was happening over there.
Was it the UPS place? The old?
Yes,
um,
something's going on there. There's been
Something's
people
going on there.
there.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of work going on there.
Okay, so everybody, I just wanted everybody to sort of get an idea that doesn't know, and that's why I asked that question. There are a few of our private nonprofits that do amazing things out of very small spaces, and you are one of them. And I knew that that was a concern of yours, so I just want to keep that on the radar for everybody, that that is something that they're going to have to be looking for. Both Jen and Linda, if nobody else has any questions, I want to thank you very much for your time. Jen, of course, we will be back in touch with you. I think on behalf of the Contract Review Committee, I can say that we are very grateful that we have you at the head at Safe Place, and very
So are
grateful
we.
for the services
Thank
that
you.
you render to the community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, and stay healthy, please.
Yes, you too.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
I think the next person up, if I'm correct, is Jacqueline Lane, representing NAMI. And
Hi, I'm here.
hi, Jacqueline, if you could,
Jackie.
Jackie, if you could introduce yourself to everybody that doesn't know you.
I'm Jackie Lane. I'm the Executive Director of NAMI Cape Cod and the Islands. And of course, that includes NAMI on Nantucket, which has become a very, very important part of our work. In fact, I spend probably at least 20 to 25% of my time on Nantucket projects. And I've been very, very pleased with the progress we've made on the island and the cooperation and the support we've had on the island. And we want to do nothing but expand our services. I'm also involved, one of the principals involved in the project to do a continuum of care on Nantucket. There were 4 agencies in the beginning, and that was the hospital, Fairwinds, the foundation, and NAMI. And we started, and that we did the community assessment, and we are on the steering committee now. And I'm very, very dedicated to that project, because in our situation where we provide sort of navigation through services for people, we find when we have clients that return to the island, and people that live on Nantucket and are raised there want to return to the island, that sometimes there are a lot of holes that they fall into because of lack of certain services. So we're trying to do everything we can to plug those holes, and there's going to be a lot of action. We're also the home of the Nantucket Providers, Mental Health Providers Group, which now was an independent group, came under our umbrella, and now act as an advisors group. So as you can see, and then the other thing, we are in the final throes of a merger with ASAP, who wanted to give up their 501c3 and come under someone else. And we felt it was a very good match, because ASAP was doing very much the same things that we were doing. Our emphasis was actually on mental health. Theirs was on addiction, and mental health and addiction are one and the same anyway. So that was a natural, and they're being treated together much more. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, where I am and where we're at.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I have to get Bert to mute his phone because he's walking around and I can't hear you. Hey, Bert,
I
can you,
can hear you.
okay, can you mute your phone while you're walking around?
You want me to mute it?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, now Jacqueline, could you present to us what you're looking for now, please?
Yes, we're looking for money to be able to continue to fund a program that was started about a year and a half ago with funds through the foundation, the Foundation for Nantucket, with emergency money. And that was a program to allow private therapists to have a share in being able to help people that couldn't afford therapy and were not getting therapy at a time when a lot of people had lost their jobs. So oftentimes insurance was an issue, which it hadn't been before. And also, I think we all realized that the COVID made everyone more stressed for all the reasons that we know. Some of them were touched upon in the former interview. The fact that children were home from school, people were cooped up together, often I'm thinking very small places. There was a lot of stress. There's food insecurity, all kinds of the things that were normal stressors, I think were very much exacerbated by COVID. So there was certainly a need. I have been working in the past, basically a year now, with Fairwinds. And Fairwinds, of course, does try to provide therapy for everyone. They certainly try to see everyone. They often do have wait lists. And also some people have histories with people at Fairwinds, and they do have turnover, which is obvious. Every organization has turnover in this market, whether it's the Cape or the islands, and probably Nantucket is that much worse because of its very nature. So what has happened with grant money, we established a program and we reached out to the private therapists on the island. This was done through the interface line, which we sponsor. It was the people, the private therapists on the island that were vetted through interface line. So we sent out an application and asked any of them if they would be interested in being in this program where they could be reimbursed if they were to present therapy to someone that could not afford a full amount of for the therapy or couldn't afford it at all. At this point, we have 9 therapists that participate in the program. 8 are active. 1 isn't. Tess is in the program, but she's on maternity leave at the moment and is supposed to be back next month, I believe. So we have 9 therapists that signed up for the program. They were given a limit of $2,000 a month that they could be compensated. It was not unlimited, and they were told that they could use that $2,000 if they could limit the number of times they saw a patient. If they needed to see more people, they could do sliding scale, which most of them are doing, but they could not go over $2,000 a month. That was our limit. And what we've found, and I have some figures here, what we've found is that the average amount that we compensate someone per month is usually about $1,200. So people are not taking advantage of this. I have the figures here for November, our most recent. In November, we had 8 therapists participate in the program. We paid out $10,325. There were 41 clients seen by therapists, and there were 93 sessions of therapy provided. So that's just about average. That's about where we are. I feel that NAMI in the future will be able, we've been supporting the program after the emergency money ran out. We've been supporting it through NAMI resources, which are very slim right now because we were unable to do our two major fundraisers, one on island, one off island, for 2 years in a row. We have already started working on our fundraiser on Nantucket, and we feel strongly that we will be able in the future, as this fundraiser grows, to support this program. And since this fundraiser is in collaboration with Fairwinds, it makes sense that the monies from this fundraiser go for therapy, for free therapy and subsidized therapy. At this point, we have some catching up to do. So I think the program has solved two issues. It gives obviously people a choice of therapists if they are unable to pay or unable to pay the full amount. It gives them the ability to see a therapist of maybe their choice. And the other thing, and also the continuity of therapy. And then the other thing that it's doing, which is kind of a secondary thing, it's helping to encourage therapists to work on the island. And I think we all know that there's a lack of therapy and therapists available, often waitlist on the island, as well as the Cape and other places. So we feel there's a great deal of value in the program. We've had an awful lot of comments from people. Thank God you've done this. Thank God you're here. And I would really hate to see it drop. At this point, I don't think I can carry it through without some additional help. But I hope in the future that we would be able to continue it as one of our programs. So I'm saying that the average amount of money, if you add the 9th therapist into it, could be about $12,000 a month. Okay.
So you're not asking for any more of the local programming that we have, not that this is the local programming, but the other things that ASAP in the past has been providing in the community, those are being covered by NAMI through another fund?
Yes, yes, the ASAP things are very much covered. And all our marketing, and there's not an issue. We also have another big federal grant that came with ASAP that's covering a lot of ASAP programming. I'm not worried about those programs. And what we are doing is using some of that money to develop some new programs that are what we call dual programs that cover the relationship between addiction and mental illness.
Yeah, I've enjoyed your newsletters and what's coming out. So I'm going to go to the everybody on the board. I'm going to start with Bert. Bert Johnson. Bert. Bert. Hey, Bert. I shouldn't have muted him. Bert.
Yeah, he probably.
He's there. Hey, Bert.
You may want to remind him to unmute.
Yeah, but he's not. Hey, Bert, can you unmute?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to go back to Bert, guys, as I'm going to text him and tell him to get on, everybody. So you all know I'm sending a text during our meeting. Brooke?
I have a ton of questions. You talk about a per therapist dollar amount. Who's assessing what the client can afford to pay? What is that process?
I am leaving that process up to the therapist because they know the client. Plus, there's also confidentiality issues. And what we do, we get a report each month from each therapist. And that report usually uses people's initials because, again, confidentiality. And what I've told them, and I have some letters and policies that we have established with this, that they have a limit on how many people they can see. And I can tell you, I have it here. Most of these people are seeing, some are seeing as many as 9 people in this program. So obviously, they are not making, I mean, if they wanted to charge the amount, the full amount that therapy is actually worth on the private level on Nantucket, they wouldn't be able to see anywhere near that number of people. So I've said, I have had to put a certain amount of trust in the therapists. Most of the therapists are asking for people to do somewhat of a donation. We feel very strongly that people need to have a little money in the fight. They need to put some money on the table. Some people are probably only paying maybe $20, $25, but yet they are putting down something. As I said, it's really up to them. I'm not vetting them personally. I feel
Okay.
they're more qualified to.
Okay, so are you asking for reporting on, say, this is what I normally would charge, this is what I'm charging the client, and this is the client's contribution, and therefore I'm asking for the balance? Like statistics like that from each of them, or are you just,
I'm not asking for specific statistics. I can figure it out pretty much because the report that they send me, Brooke, has like initials, and then they will put the dates that they saw that patient. And often it's 4 times a month. They report to me monthly. And then, so what I have is the number of patients they see, the number of sessions, the amount of money they're asking for. And that amount of money does not reflect the full compensation for that number of sessions.
but you have no idea what the client contribution toward those sessions is?
Not individually,
Okay,
not an individual client, no.
okay. And who vets licensure for these therapists to ensure that they're fully licensed, maintaining their license?
Yes, they were all vetted through the Interface Helpline, William James College.
Okay.
So, and that's where I got the list, was the people that had been vetted by them.
And they are only licensed
can't-
independent? They're licensed independent clinicians, as opposed to, can someone be supervising? And say, I know, I'm familiar with social work licensure, right? So can someone who's an LI be supervising an LCSW who's seeing clients and get reimbursed through this?
No, no,
Okay.
that's not, they're licensed therapists.
Okay, independent.
clinicians.
So just for everyone else who doesn't understand, in the arena of social work, there's 2 licenses. There's a licensed clinical social worker, which does not have a license to hang a shingle to do private practice, but they could be doing everything a therapist does within an organization like Fairwinds, because they are in a supervision under a program. So these are all just what we call hanging the shingle independent clinicians, who, as opposed to clinicians who are working in an organization with supervision and collaboration. So anyway, I have my concerns, so clearly, but thanks for the info.
Bert, are you on there yet? I should not have asked him.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Do you have any questions, sir?
No.
Okay. I'm going to move on to John Balash. John?
I have no questions. I suspect Brooke Moore would ask any question I'd even be qualified to ask.
Okay. Linda?
Question. I was trained in both sections of NAMI some time ago. There may be 10 of us. Are you going to continue
Mhm.
training Nantucket volunteers for NAMI, or is that not happening anymore?
No, we definitely will train volunteers. One of the issues is we have to have we have to have NAMI trainers, and the holdup is at the state level. It's not at our level. You're talking about training people to be like family to family leaders.
Yeah, because I was trained in the family to family, and there were 2 different trainings.
Yeah. Okay. There at this point, all the trainings have essentially gone virtual, and there aren't that many of them. NAMI Mass seems to have a shortage of trainers. We've been asking for trainings for different NAMI programs for a while. In another time, if things weren't so complicated right now, we would try to send some of our own staff members to be official NAMI trainers. But at this point, that's where the holdup is. But definitely, we want more NAMI trainers on Nantucket. Suzanne Franzuto has been trained to do the borderline personality disorder training group, which is a 12-week program, sort of like family to family, only focusing on family members and friends that are dealing with someone with borderline personality disorder. And she's trained for that. And she will be doing, I think it starts tomorrow night. It's on Zoom, it's online, and it's with 2 other people that are also trained. So definitely. Sue Mittenen, I want to get Sue trained in some of our things to be a teacher. Training is a big issue, and it has taken a hit with COVID. It really has. But
Well, we
I'm very
had 2
dedicated
trainers
to
here.
it.
We had 2 trainers that lived here. I believe it was Holly McGowan, maybe, and one other person.
Ruth Blunt was a trainer,
Yes.
and Ruth has left, of course. She's very active in Fall River and New Bedford, lucky for them, because Ruth was a really good person. Holly has been much more involved in ASAP, in the whole addiction area, and she's still very involved with us through the old ASAP board.
Okay, because I just think we really need people trained over here. I can't be the only one left, but I think we need more training over here.
Well, we will get it over there as soon as we can. I mean, that's one of my frustrations. We need more trainers. We need more people trained, period, not just on Nantucket. As I said, it's been very hard to get trainings during COVID.
Well, I just want to put that back on the radar.
It's there. Point taken, it's there. We're on the same wavelengths.
Thank you.
Brooke, even though your face just disappeared, I thought I saw your hand up. Was your hand up, Brooke?
It is.
Hi.
Hi.
Dorothy, sorry, I had a technical issue. I got literally disconnected from my, were you asking me if I had a question again?
Yes, I saw your hand up.
Okay, terrific. I have one more question for you, Jackie. What is the relationship of insurance? I'm assuming some of these people are insured. I know there's a lot of private practitioners on Nantucket who just don't participate in insurance. Is there any requirement that they submit or provide enough information for the client to submit for reimbursement? Because monies could be left on the table with people who are insured, but the paperwork's just too challenging.
As I said, the vetting of these people essentially has been through the interface line, and insurance hasn't been something that has been brought up. I would, maybe this is naive on my part, I would think anyone that is doing any kind of a private practice that has medical implications would be carrying insurance. Is that?
That's not what I mean. I mean, health insurance, the client's health insurance.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Do they have insurance? That is essentially up to the therapist to say, okay, what is your insurance? Now, private therapists, as you know, that's one of the reasons I think that they often don't take insurance, is because you'd almost sometimes have to hire another person to just do the insurance forms. That's what I've heard. And that's really hurt people that are trying to be in private practice. So again, it's up to them. If that person, if they don't require that person to use any insurance that they have. And actually, a lot of people, I've had this happen myself with different doctors, if they don't process the insurance that you have, oftentimes they will bill you, and then you can recoup money from an insurance company. I think that's a way around that for some people. But again, that's part of them deciding who truthfully needs this.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Jackie, I think I'm going to ask some questions taking from what Brooke has put out and forward to you. In reading, I understand the need for mental health on the island. It's huge. And any program that we can get going to provide those services is crucial to the island. But I think that the questions are, how is the services actually being monitored? And when to asking for like a grant money per se, we scrutinize people over how the money is being used, how sliding scales are done, how is insurance played into the factors. And I understand that this is basic for some, it's almost like a hotline of therapy to get into therapy, and for people that are in desperate need of it. I would like to see or have some more information from you, actually from the therapist that you have in your list, as to how they're actually handling insurance, whether they have insurance, how are they coming up with a sliding scale? And how does that sliding scale implemented? Is it implemented according to the family revenue? I do know that it is a huge practice in mental health that you do have, even if it's $5, the importance of being invested in your mental health. I know that the long-term results of that, they have shown study-wise, you have a much better patient-client relationship when somebody has an invested interest in what they're having to do. And not only, sorry, that's Bird again. Not only a, therapeutic investment, but a financial investment. I am very sorry, I cannot mute Bird. And so I think that what we're asking for is we need a little bit more information brought in. Hey, Bert, can you mute? And I would really be more comfortable with a little bit more information in front of us. I'd also like to know overall, I do know, I do the research on who on the island carries insurance and accepts insurance. So I know that, I've been presented before that there's only one person that takes Mass Health. That is not true. So I do know that there are insurance available, and some of these people take insurance. It would be good to know what insurance they carry, what their sliding scale is, and the number of patients that they see. Because when you're asking for a grant like this, we really need a little bit more documentation behind what we're doing as a safety net for not only, it's their town funds, and we are accountable to the taxpayers of Nantucket in making a wise financial decision. And we are not saying that we don't believe in or want to invest in mental health. That is not what I am saying. Unlike other grants, we really have a fiscal responsibility that's a little bit greater. So if you can get us that information, I think it's really pertinent, and the quicker the better.
Okay.
Okay.
So basically what the information you want is, well, I know how many people they see. That I know, but you want more of how they vet people and how much they charge and and the insurance issue, if they take insurance and if they are getting some insurance reimbursement.
Yes, I would like to know how they're, I'll break it down. I'd like to know the number of clients this program actually in the whole. Hey, Bert, can you mute? Thank you. That this program in the whole sees. So what number of projected clients do you believe will be seen? How many sessions do you believe they will have? I want to know.
People and sessions.
Yep, breakdown of both, please. Yep. I'd like to have a good idea on what, I would love to know that you actually had almost the same sliding scale idea going on with everybody, a unified sliding scale program, but what the sliding scale is. And the insurance, whether or not insurance comes into play, and how many of these therapists are actually insured. Okay, and hold on, Brooke, I'll get to you in 1 second. Can you repeat what I just asked Jacqueline before I bring it on to Brooke?
Yeah, you want to know the number of people that are actually seen and the number of sessions. You want to know about a sliding scale, and you want to know how insurance plays into it and how many are insured.
Correct. And these people, and the other question would be, how do they know to reach these services? Jacqueline?
Oh, I know that a lot of that is either referral. Oftentimes Fairwinds will send people,
Okay.
and also the interface helpline.
Okay, great. So you get referrals from both Fairwinds and Interface. Do you get them from the hospital at all?
I don't know that. I don't know that.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go to Brooke now, and Brooke, you're being.
I'm good. I was just clarifying the insurance thing, that it's not that they carry liability insurance or anything, that it's they participate as a provider.
Insurance programs.
Correct, yes.
And what happens to the reimbursement? If insurance is covered, there's some cost of the coverage. Who gets that money? The client or the therapist? Where does it go?
You mean, are you saying, does the therapist bill out and get that money? Is that what you're asking?
Well,
if I went in for a session and they went for my insurance, is the money going directly, or is it direct pay to the provider?
What I want to know, let me put it this way. I want to know what the final cost is to the client and what the final revenue is to the therapist for every session is what I would want to know.
Okay.
In other words, what is the total income, cash paid by the client, money paid by this grant, reimbursement from insurance that goes to the therapist, and what is the ultimate dollar contribution from out of pocket and or insurance from the client? What's the financial picture of the arrangement between the client and the therapist, and what is this grant's part of each of those?
In other words, there's 3 sources of income for the therapist. There is possibly insurance, there's possibly out of pocket for the client, and then there's our compensation.
Correct.
And that's
at a minimum, the reporting should include very detailed reports about that, because I could see a scenario where I don't know. It just is it's very complicated stuff when insurance gets involved. And so anyway.
You know what, I'm going to speak up here, and Jacqueline, I'd like to get back in touch with you. I'd like to talk with Jericho outside of this meeting, and just clarify what exactly we asked from Fairwinds on this, because I don't want to ask NAMI for anything we're not asking Fairwinds for. And then I'll get back and I'll let everybody know Wednesday what my discussion with Jericho was and what we're asking Jacqueline for in a breakdown. Okay. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for Jacqueline? Any comments? Okay. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. I appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Okay.
Dorothy, I have a hard stop at noon for myself. So does that kill our?
It does. Unless Joanne can get back on.
Who's presenting next?
Huh?
Who's presenting next?
Martha's Vineyard Community Services. What?
I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. I just have a lot.
Can somebody see if Joanna can get back on? Please.
Just 1 second, guys. We're trying to reestablish quorum.
Okay. And everybody, excuse me for 1 minute because my computer just said the battery is at 2%. I'm going to get a connection. Be right back.
Does anyone have Joanna's contact info?
I do. I'll text. You want me to text it to you?
Or text her direct.
Okay.
It's not 2+, so we're still good on open meeting. I'll be right back as well.
We were scheduled for 2 hours, right, guys?
Ten to 12, yes.
Okay, thanks. Amy. Jericho?
He's not at his desk yet.
I'm right here.
Oh, what do you need? He's right here. Okay, he's going back to his desk.
Who's in charge of letting people in? Joanna said she tried to get in and couldn't get in.
No, I never saw her name.
Yeah, so she's going to try again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not host for this one, so I'm not seeing her, but if Anne should be able to check on the participants tab.
You know what? We have everybody. We can start, guys.
Joanna to come back in. So if you want to wait for just a sec so she doesn't. I have 2 minutes before I have to open another meeting.
Yeah.
Well, Dorothy, I'd like to thank you because the sun has come back out and the rain has stopped.
Oh, be quiet, Bert.
You know, I drove down through 95 when it was closed to that debacle.
I know. I worried about you the whole time down there.
Okay, Brooke, looks like you're good.
Okay, hold
Okay.
on.
Thanks, everybody. Sorry I can't stay to you. The Martha's Vineyard contingent.
Bye, Brooke. Thanks. Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm gonna say hi to everybody as we go through. Kathy Hackett. Welcome.
Thanks, Dorothy.
Angela Knapp. Welcome.
Hi, thanks. Nice to meet you. Nice to be here.
You too. And Beth, and is it White?
Mike.
Welcome.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Bert, can you mute again? Sorry. Okay. Bert, if you can mute, that'd be great.
I had to start the car up and move it forward. That's what made all those noises.
Okay. Okie doke. If you guys would like to present, welcome back, Joanna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I guess I will start. I'm Kathy Hackett. I'm the former program coordinator of the Martha's Vineyard Community Services Family Support Center. And I'll just introduce quickly. Beth White is the program director of the Disability Services Department at Community Services. And Angela Knapp is the newly hired program coordinator of the Family Support Center. So we are all here to, to thank you so much for the funding that we've received in the past, and to give you some updates and to talk about the future. So I've been here, it's been an amazing 30 years of service to the Nantucket community. And the town funding has really supported wide-ranging service provisions to both eligible families as well as the community at large. We have some fabulous community partners who really welcomed collaboration and have added a real richness to the offerings that we provide. And through COVID, luckily we have technology which has allowed us to continue our connection. We did try to sneak a couple of events in August in partnership with STAR, but because cases started to rise, we had to cancel those family events, which we were sad about, but certainly understand. So currently we support 14 families, a total of 16 individuals on the island. And then also currently we have 4 individuals who have either expressed interest in applying for services, who are in the process of applying for the Department of Developmental Services, which is the closed referral source for the program, or their applications have been submitted and they're in process there. So we actually provide activities, we provide community awareness events and trainings, and then also work individually with families who are eligible for our services. So a couple of recent accomplishments, which we're really excited and proud about, are the fact that applied behavioral analysis, the ABA services, are currently not available on the island. The provider, there have been several providers over the years, and those providers have pulled away from the island. So given that, we actually brokered a meeting with South Shore Autism Center in early September, where we provided introductions to early intervention providers through Kennedy Donovan. Shannon Bell was on the call from Nantucket. And, this was really in hopes of having a sense of, kind of what services that South Shore Autism Center provides. They have a new contract to work with early intervention. And also we wanted to get a sense of, would they provide additional services to school-age children? So that actually resulted in a community meeting in December where South Shore Autism Center came out to the island, met with the schools, had conversations with families and SNAC. So we're really proud of the work of really trying to meet an unmet need. And those conversations continue. They're trying to recruit and hire providers. So that's really fabulous. We actually also have been connecting with a long-term partner, Nantucket STAR, fabulous, and their new program coordinator or program director, Carrie Ray. We did some work and she did some outreach, and so we're actually planning to have some sensory-friendly movies at Dreamland starting in February or March. She was able to make that connection, and we're really excited about working together on that. And we also sent a sensory tent, which is literally a tent with some different sensory items that we're hoping will be, available to people who could use it either at the sensory friendly movie if they need to kind of come out and take a break, or at other community events. So we're really kind of excited about that. We kind of shipped it over, and it is now in the hands of Nantucket Star. They're storing it for us. And just one other quick example, we've worked closely with SNAC, amazing, just an amazing parent group. And we've worked with their leadership to provide some training and discussion ideas for their meetings. And actually, we've set up for next Wednesday, Zach Rossetti, who is an associate professor at BU. He's going to be talking about friendships from the sibling perspective. They were really excited to kind of hear about that. So we've made that connection and set that up. So he'll be presenting during their SNAC meeting. And we have lots of ideas too moving forward. We're hoping to have some friendships opportunities, friendships training opportunities as well. So we're in kind of constant contact about that. And we actually have 2 families currently involved in the Family Leadership Series. Amazing families. They are learning all kinds of great things that they'll bring back to the community. And through the fall, we actually, Beth and I were able to attend the Healthy Community Collaborative once in person and through Zoom as well. And that's been a great connection in terms of collaborators and introductions. And in October, Beth and I came to the island. We were there for a 2-day visit so that Beth could meet some of the players. And we had a very long, full day of meetings with the Family Resource Center, with Nantucket Public Schools, both the elementary school as well as special education department. We met with Fairwinds, we met with Laura Steele, the SNAC chair. So we kind of really, it was important to us to have Beth be introduced and just to have a seamless transition as I kind of move on. So I will stop there because I'm kind of blabbing. But that's, this work is just so fun, and the partners are just amazing on Nantucket. So it's really, really been a privilege to work with them.
Okay, I'm going to leave my comments for you, Kathy, to the end. So Beth, do you have anything you'd like to add to this?
Yeah, I absolutely do. So I wanted to kind of first just touch on what the transition looks like, because I know that, 30 plus years is not, that's not a light transition. That's not something you just say and walk away. But so I am thrilled that Kathy's on the call with us today and that we have Angela. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about what this looks like right now. So Kathy has, as of the 31st of December, did step out of the coordinator role. But if you know Kathy, which you do very well, she's not done. So Kathy's going to be staying on, and we're just kind of rolling with that. So we have the ability to have Kathy stay on in a part-time capacity, which I think is it's going to take some work because she keeps working very close to 40 hours. So I think it's going to take some a learning curve to start to actually cut back a little bit. But what that allows us is for a really thoughtful, mindful, and planful transition. And work with Kathy and Angela. And so Angela joined us last week, and we're really being very mindful about what this process looks like. For me, I think the twofold, it's all of the relationships, the relationship building with both partners, community partners, as well as with the families. And so this is not something that we're taking lightly. And so we have the opportunity for Angela and Kathy to really work together. So I wanted to kind of just touch on that. So we're going to keep going as long as Kathy will have us in that capacity. And then also we do have a position posted on Nantucket because our goal is to have that boots on the ground that we speak of. I did have one response. I have also renewed the posting again this morning. So I'm going to be reaching out to some community partners as well and do some more conversations about what that position looks like and creative ways to fill those to fill that position. But in addition to that 20-hour position, we also have a 20-hour position here on Martha's Vineyard. And so the way that I see it is that we're actually going to all play a role in Nantucket. So the three of us will be coming over to Nantucket later this month to do kind of a similar introduction for Angela as well. And then we're going to continue to, as long as health allows us to do this, but to stick to our trying to do 2 visits a month, at least between 1 and 2 visits a month. And that will keep going even when we get someone on boots on the ground as well. So we'll kind of be, circulating, but we'll start off together going over there and then keep going with having just more of a presence on the island. And there'll be, 3 of us to kind of share that, 3 or 4 of us to share that responsibility of going over there. So really strengthening our team is what's happening right now, which is pretty incredible. And the other thing that I wanted to touch on, if there's time, I know that we're going beyond the time, but Kathy and I are prepared to kind of talk a little bit about our goals. If you wanted us to do a quick overview on those, or do you want to save that for questions, or what would work?
I'm going to have you go over your goals, but I think the one thing that Kathy, we have a new board member that actually doesn't really know as much about you as I would want them to know. And I think it's crucial for everybody to understand actually the integral part that what Kathy does plays in the lives of families that she touches here on the island. And I think if you think, oh, she's just here and it's Martha's Vineyard Community Service, what do they do? I don't think anybody understands the day-to-day or the long-term effect Kathy has in the lives of the people that she touched or the program touches, and that it isn't something that you just sign up in kindergarten or sign up at one time. Kathy's making an investment, even if you're only 14 kids in the program now, she's made an investment in hundreds of children on the island, and she still checks in on them. So I think understanding, I'm not sure Joanna understands, and I'm reaching out for Joanna, actually what you actually provide. And I think that's really important in understanding why this is such a vital service to a part of our community.
Thank you, Dorothy. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
This program, I think what is really, because I oversee the various programs, within disability services, but what is so unique and so powerful about this particular program is that we are allowed to work with families across the lifespan. So families that go through eligibility and do have family members with developmental disabilities, and that could be as early as, infancy and beyond, but also across the lifespan. So that's a very unique nature and very, very unique part of this contract. And with that, and I'm sure Kathy can obviously touch on this a lot more, but what that allows us to do is to be that family's person. You'll often hear the words that Kathy will use, and what it drew me to Angela too, is this about being someone's cheerleader. So, what this role looks like could change on a daily basis, because the whole focus is on meeting a family where they are in that moment. And so a lot of times it might be putting puzzles together and connecting a family to different resources, or creating opportunities, or really understanding what that family needs to thrive in that moment. And that can change on a daily basis. It could be navigating medical appointments off island, or trying to find services or supports within the community. Or it could be trying to identify what kind of resources would help strengthen the home in which the family is living. And so whether that's through accessing sensory equipment, or help towards fencing in a yard that's going to create a safe play space, or perhaps it's going to go towards emergency funding, whether that's going to be towards rental or needing to fix a car. I mean, it is as broad as life is in a sense. And so you have this cheerleader, you have this person who is there and meets these families, and on any given day, whatever that family is navigating, they have someone in their corner that can do the legwork, like the hours that are spent with a family or on behalf of a family is 100% focused on what does this family need in this moment. And then you kind of take one step further to look at what does this community need? So you learn the families, you learn about what their needs are, both as a family, but also how can we build the capacity of the community to then also strengthen the family and meet needs as well. So that's where you get this element of, we get to then be a partner, a community partner. We have access to funds from the general contract that we can then partner and say, let's do these sensory movies and let us put some money towards those. And that can sound very simple, but this is a program that we've offered on Martha's Vineyard, and it creates an opportunity for parents and families to take kids to the movie and not worry if their child gets up or moves around or can't sit still or needs to, whatever they need. That one moment, it's about creating a space that is safe and welcoming. That's just one small example, and that's done through partnership, but it's also done through understanding and knowing what families need. The next kind of piece, which I think, so you start with a family, and then you're building relationships with community partners to strengthen access to opportunities. But also there's this element of training and education. When I spent that whirlwind of a day on Nantucket and met with numerous educators that I have a cheat sheet next to me, what I was really, blown away on is the history of programming and the history of opportunities. But the professional development, the fact that this program can come in and talk with the schools and say, all right, well, let's connect you with an inclusion consultant that can come in and can do professional development for a large number of teachers and faculty. So you're not working with like one person or one age group or even one particular disability. You're really like hitting the community in general. And it's about building that capacity and not one-offs. Finding, doing something, and if it's working and working well, figuring out ways to make that sustainable. And if it's not working, figuring out why not and what would work in its place. And then, the other piece of this is also then about how do we ensure that people know about this program? How do we ensure that people aren't learning about us too late in some ways, like how do we figure out how to really make sure that this information is accessible, that it's translated, that it's easy to understand, that, how do we get it out there? So it's also about, offering resources and supports to people that may not even have gone through eligibility yet. So working with families, and maybe they're not ready to do that big DDS application, and that's okay, but kind of staying in the loop and staying on their radar for when they are ready. And so that both takes the individual work of the Family Support Center, but it also takes the work of partners and knowing and making sure that all of our partners, including the hospital, including mental health and substance use, and all of the schools and everything in between, making sure that they know and they have this information and also understand what our program does. So we don't just kind of get lost as just another title, but to actually understand like when to call us and how to call us. So it's a great deal of time and it's a great deal of energy, and it's really about relationship building. But it's one of the coolest programs because it's the most natural. You just get to take a deep dive into a community and then be this creative problem solver. And it's really cool. That in a nutshell, that's how I would sum it up.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
That was very helpful, Beth.
Angela, would you like to comment?
All right, I turned the volume down because it's right behind me, so I was getting stereo there. I am so excited to be on board, and as you know, Dorothy, I'm stepping into some really big shoes, so I'm feeling incredibly fortunate to have Kathy here to guide me. And I think some of my biggest hopes and desires for continuing the program is really having a face and a physical relationship, like personal, in-person relationship with people and families and the community of Nantucket, because as much as I love Zoom and I'm so grateful that it's an option, I feel like it's really important to have that in-person relationship in order to develop an appropriate rapport and a healthy, happy rapport. And I hope that I can follow in Kathy's footsteps by creating relationships that last a long time. So even once people are no longer in the program, that doesn't mean the relationship dissolves. So I really look forward to continuing on creating different events. I have lots of different ideas about outdoor events when the weather is cooperative, and just hopefully meeting the families and spending time there and really getting to the island and trying to develop those face-to-face relationships. So I'm really excited about heading out, hopefully in the next month or so, well, next month, to be on Nantucket and starting to create my space within the Nantucket community.
Awesome. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm going to go through and let people ask questions. Bert?
No questions. Good luck in the new transition.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Joanna?
No, I think this, thank you for taking the time to explain to me exactly the kind of services that you offered. I did have some questions about that and didn't quite understand how it all kind of pieced in together. So I appreciate you spending a little extra time to get me up to speed. My questions are really just about capacity, right? Is there an unmet demand for these services, and what happens with those folks?
You want to speak to that, Kathy? Like the unmet?
Sure. At this particular point, there are, as I had mentioned, there are 4 individuals that are in process in some way, but we really try to work to the demand. We're always in conversations, with the school system, have spoken with Sarah Chotkowski at the hospital, have worked with the Family Resource Center. So we're really always open and wanting to provide supports and get people connected who are interested, even including early intervention. So there's there's not really kind of a limit. We can only serve X number of families. It's really as families come to our attention or contact us or are referred to us, we work to get them connected.
So there's nobody that you're not helping who needs help. That's what I'm getting at.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So I think that there are a number of families who have kind of heard about through, the grapevine who would likely qualify for services, but for whatever reason have not accessed the program. Some families access the program. Any family who connects with us, they connect when they're ready to connect. So some families don't feel like they really want to go through the DDS intake and eligibility process. They may know about us, but they haven't chosen to actually go through the process. So I do know that there are a number of families, and probably some that I don't already know about, who would be eligible. But I think we try to have the information out there. We try to have our community partners in the know, and that they would send people or have conversations with them. We've done actually little meet and greets at the, like through the school. We haven't done it since COVID, but I would a couple of times a year through the guidance counselors, through, that network, we would go in at, 7:30 or 8 o'clock and do a meet and greet, and families would come in. And even some of those families, they would hear about it, but they weren't, for whatever reason, ready to reach out to formally connect with the program. But maybe they would come to some of our events that are in partnership with STAR, or would come to the sensory friendly movie. So they might be connected in some ways, but maybe not formally.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Dorothy, you're muted.
Yep. Sorry. Any other questions, Joanna?
No.
Linda?
No questions.
John Balash?
No questions. Kathy, I can't believe that you're retired. I think that's only in formality, but you have not retired from being Kathy Hackett and doing everything that everybody else never thought of.
Oh, well, thank you so much, John. I feel like this is kind of coursing through my veins, that I'll always in some ways do this work. So, but thank you so much. It's been such an amazing pleasure. And as Beth said, I'm still around.
Okay, anybody else? Kathy, I'm going to address you. I addressed you once when I heard about this, and I'll probably cry again, so I don't want to do that. the impact that you have had in this community is like none other. And your love of the children that you've served and the families is unprecedented. I am grateful for the time I've gotten to know you and for the impact I know you've made in so many lives. And I wish for you the very best as you move on. I know you will not totally move on out of this program, but I hope the time comes when you actually do find something else that gives you as much love and passion as this program did. I'm sorry, I'm tearing up. It's just, to me, I don't think anybody, if you haven't watched the work that you've done over the years, understands the impact you have made in this community. So I thank you for that. And Beth, I hope for all of you, I've said this before, to remember the uniqueness of Nantucket, as it is not like any other community. And that's the gift that Kathy's given us, is she's been able to look at us not as she would the Vineyard or anywhere else, but as Nantucket in its own unique way, and the unique way the community works. And Angela, you don't need to follow in Kathy's footsteps. You have to make your own. And I think that you will do successful in making your own footsteps, because I think that's the best way any new program or any new leader can take on, is to take and make it their own steps. And I have confidence that if they have decided upon you, and with somebody like Kathy at your side to help guide you, that you're going to do fine and you're going to have wonderful footsteps for us to watch. So thank you. Thank you all. And I think on behalf of the Contract Review Committee, I can solemnly say, Kathy, we are saddened by the news that you are leaving. We are happy that you are finding something else in your life and a new adventure for yourself. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It has been a privilege. This is really, I mean, I've watched kids grow up. It's just been amazing. So I feel like in so many ways that I've gotten more out of this work than anyone who I've worked with. It's truly been such a gift. So thank you so much for the support through the committee and through the town to support the program and all of the fun things that we do. And I'm still around.
Still the only person I know that goes to work every day with a smile on their face. And so that is a very rare that you get up with a smile like that and are happy to be doing, and to see such passion every single day. I have not seen it ever dwindle. So it's just amazing. To all of you, the program is amazing, and I'm very grateful. I don't think I'm speaking out of line to say the community is grateful that we have something like this available to our to the community, to members of our community. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, with that note, I know that we are down to 1 minute before our time limit will come up. So I'm just pulling up my agenda again, guys. And I believe that all I have to do is ask for an adjournment.
Motion to adjourn from Florida.
Second from Nantucket.
Okay, I'm going to go through the list. Bert.
Yay.
John Balash.
Hey.
Joanna.
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, everybody. Jericho, I'll reach out to you about that information that I was talking about. You and Ann.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, Jericho, I'll reach out to you about the information that we had discussed on our last thing.
Oh, Jericho wasn't here. You're gonna contact Jericho?
Okay.
He just stepped out, so, oh, here he's coming right back in.
Yeah, and Kathy, I hate to see you go, and I told you that last year.
Thank you so much, Linda.
We're gonna come haunt you now.
No need, I'm not going far.
I don't want you going anywhere. This wouldn't be here without you, frankly.
Well, thank you so much.
Jericho, you there?
He just came in the building. Are you hooked back up, Jericho?
Hi, Jericho. Hey,
Hi,
Jericho.
I had to go and get the vaccine.
Okay, sorry. I just quickly referenced the fact that I will get back in touch with you over the questions with NAMI, and we'll have an
Gotcha.
event for everybody on Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay, fabulous. Sorry that you ran back in for that. Okay,
Okay.
everybody, thank you very much. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye,
Kathy.
Kathy.
Bye, Kathy. It's been great working with you. Yep. All right. Bye, Dorothy.
Bye, Ann.
Ugh. All right, end meeting.
Bye, Ann.
Bye, Dorothy.
Thank
Take care,
you.
Dorothy.
See you, Jericho.